Hi everybody, my name is Rabbi Dinovitzer and I'm incredibly excited to tell you this Devar Torah. It is something that means so much to me. Let's get right to it. In this week's Torah portion, Moshe is told that he is to separate 3 cities of refuge, and those are places where people could run if they had committed a murder inadvertently, and it's a whole long topic which we won't go into, but Moshe was to create 3 of those cities where those unintentional murderers would go, and they would spend a certain number of time in those cities of refuge. Now, you probably all know that Moshe never went into the land of Israel, and so these 3 cities that he set up were going to be on the east side of the Jordan, and on the west side of the Jordan, which is Israel proper, there were going to be another 3 set up, but he would never have the honor of doing those 3. They would happen after his life ended, after he would never go into Israel, and someone else would take over and do that for him. Incidentally, as soon as Moshe completed the job of setting up these 3 cities of refuge, soon afterwards he would die, his mission on earth would end, and Yehoshua would take over, the people would go into Israel, and his dream of going into the land of Israel would never happen. Now, if you were faced with that kind of mission, go set up 3 cities of refuge, and soon after the cities of refuge are done, you're done, your life is over, and no, you're not going in to have your dream legacy of being in the land of Israel. I think what your reaction would be like to something like that. Pause right there, because I want to, right at that moment, while you're thinking about how you would react to something like that, I want to contrast this with some of the leadership that you and I see when we open our media today. I'm not going to get political here, I'm not going to name names, but I am going to tell you that some of the people that we watch in leadership today, like our politicians, no names though, what they do is, you all know that they have focus groups and they have think tanks, and they find out by polling what people want to hear. They get out ahead of the curve, they tell people what they know people want to hear, and then they stamp their legacy upon what it is that everybody wants to hear, and then they say, that's my legacy. The people wanted the country going in direction X. I started to pretend like I was out ahead of that curve, and I put my name on it, and I became famous for it, and I figured out how to get myself elected for another term, and possibly even more terms, and become let's just say a professional politician based on polling, finding out what people want, telling them what they want to hear, putting my stamp on it, and most of all finding out that I have a fantastic legacy of what I accomplished for the people. Well, you and I see a lot of that from our politicians today. Now, let's get away from that and let's go back to Moshe. He did not do anything of the sort. Moshe was told that as soon as your mission is finished, you're done. And he could have, if he was an ordinary, like one of our politicians, oh, God forbid, or like me and you, he might have said, well, I'm not going to be so quick to do it because my mission is over then. But Moshe went right to it, knowing that God wanted it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to fulfill God's mission, and then I'm going to die. Now, that is because Moshe was what I believe, and I believe the Torah wants us to believe, is the true quintessential leader. This kind of leader doesn't say, what's my legacy? What will the people say about me? How long will I get to live? Will I get another term? He just says, God wants me to fulfill this mission. I will fulfill my mission, and then I'm done. I will not go into the land of Israel, and I will close out my time here on planet Earth, and I just want to fulfill what God wants. And one more piece that you need to know. Moshe's whole way about him always was not just what God wants, but what the people need. Not my legacy. What do the people that I'm leading need? I'll give you some fast examples. Moshe, when he just stepped out of the palace of Paro, saw a Jew being hurt, and immediately he sets to work and says, that shall not happen. I don't want that Jew being hurt. Moshe, by another example, when he was looking for that one sheep that he was caring for, and that sheep that wasn't getting tended to properly, went looking for it everywhere, found it at the site of Mount Sinai where the burning bush was, and God said, you're the man. You're the one who I want forever. You're going to lead the Jewish people. Moses showed over and over and over that he put the people first, not himself. I want to close by telling you one last example. Moshe saw that at one point God was very interested in destroying the Jewish people. At least God was claiming that, because the Jewish people had not done properly. And Moshe said, if you're going to destroy the people, macheni na misifracha asher kasavta, erase me from the book that you wrote. In other words, I'm not interested in my legacy. I would rather go down the drain and have no memory of myself whatsoever, but I want my people saved. In contrast to what you see on your media today about how politicians are interested in their legacy, their fame, their next term, etc., contrast this with the true example of leadership, which is Moshe. God wants me to create these 3 cities, and then I'm done, then I'll just immediately do it. What do the people need? The people need to be saved. Then I'll erase my legacy just to make sure that the people I'm serving are saved. Oh, how that teaches us what true leadership is. And wouldn't it be fantastic if we had leaders like that today? The most often used descriptor of Moshe, our leader, was that Moshe was known as a humble man. Humility. What do my people need? Not what do I need? And that truly is what leadership is supposed to look like. May we be blessed with Jewish leaders like Moshe, who put humility first, who put the people that they're leading first, as Moshe always did. And that's what we should yearn for, because that, my dear people, is what true leadership is all about. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye, and have a great Shabbos.